Firstly, I'm very glad to be here with you today, and I just would like to thank organizers for such a great event like this. First, I'm AHMED SHERIF, mainly web application penetration tester. I'm just graduated last year from computer engineering and automatic control systems, so that's why I'm interested in industrial control system security. Sometimes I'm involved in bug bounty program. In most cases, I don't get any rewards in return, but it's okay. Sometimes I get involved in some open source projects which is related to security field. I will pass this report, and I will start with my mission. When I started my job in Egypt National Search, I was asked a single question: is Egypt secure? So it's really very hard question to answer. And they asked me to perform a black box assessment on the level of the range of Egypt, the whole Egypt, on the SCADA systems in Egypt, without providing me with any piece of information about organizations which is using SCADA systems or industrial organizations. So it was just one code came up on my mind about knowing your enemy from Santazo. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not feed the result of 100 battles. So I need to know my enemy. I'm not sure if I know myself, but I have to monitor hackers' activity by deploying some honeypots. So because I don't like to reinvent the wheel, I just use an open source project which is Combat. If you're familiar with Combat, Combat is a low interaction honeypot which is written in Python, and it can simulate a lot of industrial protocols like S7, Modbus, PACnet, and a lot of other protocols like HTTP, SNP. So I started to make some changes, but first to mention that this is the web interface. Sorry, this is the web interface of Combat. It's not realistic. So any hacker who is familiar with Combat can identify this is a honeypot. So I managed to change the web interface of Combat to simulate a real web interface like this, Siemens S7 1201, to just make the web interface more realistic. The second thing I used it to do is to change some information of PLC name. Like this, it was Technodrome by default, but I changed it to something like PLC1, so you can change it whatever you want. The third thing that I changed it, the modification, the plant identification, which was hard-coded, and it was just a static string. It was Mouser factory, so I changed it to GCWC, which is a governmental entity in Egypt. And fourth step was changing some default configuration like serial number, which is already hard-coded as well, and it equals these numbers and this location. A lot of information can be changed on Combat easily. So was it detected? I just was curious about how hackers see my honeypot. Do they recognize my honeypot or not? So I was just started to look for honeypot detectors or something like this. So I found a good project based on Shodan, which was a HoneyScore project. So I just threw all of my honeypots IP addresses, and fortunately it wasn't detected. It looks like a real system. That's how I would like to make my honeypots more realistic, or more real for hackers to attract more attacks and more and monitor more activities. So just I would like to mention the common mistakes for people who are deploying Combat honeypot. This is why I changed all the information of honeypot, because you can get all of the information from project like Shodan. Hackers can get all the honeypot projects deployed with default configuration, and then they can index all of the IP addresses of honeypot projects so that they can avoid scanning or attacking all of these systems. The result of attacks happened. There were a lot of attacks happened on the level of web, on the level of HTTP, another on SMP, Modbus, and there were a little attacks on S7 protocols. And the top attacks was really basic, common attacks such as path reversal, shell path reversal, authentication by bus, something like this. And about the top attacks, it was from US, Thailand, DE, and from DE it was just like for research purposes. And it was very weird for me to see Libyan IP addresses attacking honeypots. And from friends. So from here, I started my journey for identifying the SCADA systems in Egypt. I just deployed my honeypots to be more familiar with SCADA attacks. So I would just started the first step for looking for my honeypots and the hacker interests in social media and underground forums and test them. What I got, just some of nice list of docs was shared by anonymous account on Twitter, and this account, by the way, has a lot of followers, about 2 million followers, and so they are sharing a lot of HMIs and docs through Shodan and through Google. Another way they were sharing a lot of HMI logins through Pastebin. And they are sharing country-specific HMIs, country-specific SCADA system. They were sharing Dutch SCADA system, Israeli SCADA systems, US SCADA systems, and I was just curious about Egypt. So I was just looking for Egypt, but there were no any finding. There was no any finding for Egypt. So I started to find another way to identify any SCADA systems on the internet for Egypt. The second way for me was by just using a known reconnaissance tools like Shodan, like Google, and known search engines. So I just started with the specific keywords like Alan Bradley, Sematic, Schneider, and with using of some of search or port-related, ICS port-related, such as Modbus port 502 or S7 port or Ethernet IP port, and etc. And I just got some results. This is just a sample. I just got about 20 online systems detected in the range of Egypt, and I didn't think that it's only enough to recognize online systems in Egypt. So I started to search and look for any other methods, like ICS map. I just heard about ICS map from Forcex last year, and so I just downloaded all of the SCADA systems found on this map and pasted it into database, just filtered all of the Egypt-related SCADA systems and see what is still working and still online, another what is went off, and I found that two new results was detected, and 5 systems has no longer exist. So I think this map is not fully updated, and I thought this wasn't the right way for identifying the SCADA systems all over the Egypt. So I managed to design my customized scanner and monitor the whole range of Egypt just by making alerts for online systems. So the goal of this scanner, there were 2 goals for this scanner, just by identifying interconnected SCADA systems so that this scanner can make an alert for us so that we can contact the organization and tell them, hey, you have interconnected SCADA system and it's very critical, so we have to take it off. The second rule is by identifying existing SCADA systems with common vulnerabilities, which was found on honeypots, such as common web attacks like authentication bypass, unauthenticated interfaces, web interfaces for SCADA systems, which is running by default credential. So I will pass this. So the project life cycle was like this. It was starting from determining the whole IP range of Egypt, which was about 14 million IP addresses. Then started port scanning on the industrial control system related ports, and then parsed all of this to a written Python scripts, which I wrote to identify common HMIs for industrial control system, and then it will make alert for us. That is, if it identified SCADA systems in Egypt, interconnected SCADA system in Egypt, so that we contact the organization, and then it will continue to parsing all of the results found to another Python scripts modules for identifying common vulnerabilities, and finally it creates the report. It will check again if there is a remediation or if the system still exists or not. So if it's not, it will make another alert so that we will contact the organization again to let them take the SCADA systems off. So the first phase of port scanning. As I mentioned that Egypt has more than 14 million IP addresses, public IP addresses. So the problem was just I needed a very fast port scanning. So regular port scanners like NMAP or any regular port scanner won't work perfectly in this case. So I just was looking for a perfect fast port scanner like Mass Scan. I found Mass Scan project. It's really very beautiful project. It has a lot of features like panogramming, multiple port scan, and it can scan the whole range of Egypt in just 2 minutes. 14 million IP addresses in just 2 minutes. So the first phase just finished in only 2 minutes. The second phase by scripts, when the results of port scanning, it will pass it into the Python scripts, which will identify HMIs, online HMIs. So it will identify it based on different vendors like Siemens, like Rockwell Automation, like you could go up a lot, and it will identify it as well based on web SCADA solutions, which is here in the market nowadays. The third phase is by scanning modules, and this scanning module is divided into 2 categories. These 2 categories is brute forcing and web scanning. The brute forcing has a lot of default credentials for different vendors. I just fed it up with a lot of default credentials for different vendors. And the web scanner is just a simple and basic web scanner for scanning against the authentication bypass, something like unauthenticated pages for industrial control systems. So what about default credential? You can find the default credential for any vendor on these websites. And the other way just was collected from the internet like this, just by searching for vendors' manuals, default passwords. And about authentication bypass, it's really easy, and it's really a simple list of payloads, a lot of payloads like this. After this phase, this project should give us an alert for interconnected SCADA systems and for vulnerable SCADA systems. And finally, just to design the web interface for reporting to make it more friendly for people who will use this system, so that it can make some statistics of vulnerable SCADA systems, interconnected SCADA systems, and to keep track on every process, every scanning process. And the results, I think there was more than, we got access to more than 10 new online SCADA systems than other methods. And about 5 alerts we got from this system for interconnected SCADA systems in Egypt for just the past few months. Here just a simple example, because I'm not allowed to share all the information, just an HMI which was running online for controlling a UBS in a big organization in Egypt. So this was my journey to identify the SCADA systems in the whole range of Egypt, firstly. And my future goal is to make this scanner integrate with other projects like Modicon, Nmap scripts, and some other scripts like some other exploits like Metasploit, to identify appropriate exploits for these public systems, so that it can make identify more and more vulnerability. So, what's my recommendation for you, or what you can do on your systems? I think testing your SCADA systems is a good recommendation. So how you can test it? It's really simple. I think you can test on a lot of levels on your SCADA systems, like application level, operating system level, network infrastructure, field devices, printer. On the level of application, there are a lot of web applications for HMIs which has a lot of weakness points. So you can just making a review on your ports and your service and ensure just necessary ports are only enabled, and how your application is accessed. You can choose your remote access. You should review how your application is underlying with operating system. I mean, you can run your applications with high privileges on your systems, and you can make a test on web application of your SCADA system just by reading something like OS testing guide. On the level of operating system, there are a lot of things to do. I have heard about a lot of Windows XP, which was used for SCADA systems, and it's still used nowadays. So just to try to avoid setting on your unsupported operating system, and you have to review password policies. Another reviews on access control and authentication in your operating system, review to access to your files. And sometimes, on testing on network infrastructure, what you can do, you can review your configuration on routers and switches, something like making packet sniffing on your network to see what can be captured. Check your physical security of cables and communication cabinets. And reviewing network protocols, it's really important. And check if your network design is matching your actual deployment. And on the level of field devices, I mean the field devices are just RTUs and PLCs. You can test it by just making packet sniffing on these devices. You can capture something interesting. And password policies as well on these devices. I noticed a lot of devices without any authentication, as well as with set with default credentials or weak passwords. And this is very important rule, just by reviewing the batch level of your firmware and software on these devices. On the level of perimeter, you can check your firewall rules, and you have to manage your unclear or dangerous rules. Reviewing the situation with the control access on your firewall, as well as you can conduct scans for wireless devices which is connected to your ICS SCADA environment, causing breach. So, and finally, assessing the physical security for the environment equipment is housed. And I'm done.
Thank you. I think it's time to
penetrate
the questions.
Yeah.
So, what were the audience asked? Have your organizations protected infrastructure against attacks? Yes. Okay. I would have been surprised if someone had said, no, we don't mind too much.
That's really weird.
So, do you see any side effects of your scanning efforts? Did you get any abuse messages, for instance?
No. I think we are already authorized to do that because we are an Egyptian. I'm working on this project with the Egyptian National Service.
Yeah, but people maybe don't know that, so maybe they send you an abuse mail telling like.
We are just doing the reconnaissance and just we are just telling them you are vulnerable. So it's a good for them.
Yeah. Okay. So how easy was it to identify the real asset owner, not only seeing like the IP address network holder, the ISP? It could be only the ISP, not the real asset owner. Or did you get the IP ranges from them?
No. I didn't get any information from perspective of CERT. They just asked me to perform a black box assessment, so that I just acted like any hacker outside Egypt, so collected them all over from the internet.
But how could you identify the real asset owner?
It's from ISPs, yeah.
Yeah, from the
ISPs.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. And they didn't complain about they had to cooperate? Were they forced to cooperate with you, or?
I think most of corporates in Egypt cooperating already with the Egypt CERT, and they always try to get all of their new vulnerabilities and something like this. And I think it's a good thing if Egypt National CERT called them to tell them about any vulnerability.
Yeah. And are they forced to do something about it?
Sometimes no.
Let's see. Will your modifications to the false honeypot be sent upstream to maintainers or available online to us?
I think, I just made a pull request on the compot, but it hasn't been merged yet with BR because they have shown some concerns about the copyrights. But if anyone wanted, it's okay. I can share it with you.
Good to know. And do you think being in the Middle East making you, as Egypt, a more interesting target?
I think Middle East area is, we have a lot of targets, and in Middle East, there are a lot of attacks happening on Turkey, Israel, and Saudi Arabia. You know that there are a lot of targets on Middle East, so critical infrastructure is a good target for hackers and for other countries.
So now you by your work, you're trying to prevent a serious attack. Have you seen any serious incidents?
Simulate attacks, and then just inform the organization so that we avoid being attacked on the level of Egypt.
Yeah. But do you know if there have been any attacks?
Sorry?
Have there been any serious attacks that you know about and that you can tell of?
No.
Of course. We won't tell, will we? No. Did you compare the scan results with showdown results?
Yes, I compared it, and
was it a match?
I just found a new thing is because I'm just doing this scanning periodically on every 3 hours. So it's just making a recent scans every 3 hours. So there are a lot of new results happens every period of time, or every process scan process.
Okay. And if you continue with deeper analysis of the connected systems, are you not afraid that you will harm these systems in any sense?
No, as I mentioned, it's just a reconnaissance, just by identifying interconnected systems, or just by trying to get into these systems by not exploiting any type of vulnerabilities. So it's just a very basic vulnerabilities to just make sure that hackers outside Egypt or hackers from outside can't get into these systems. So it's not by exploiting what is there.
That's good. See if I have. While scanning, how much did you see honeypots maintained by asset owners? Did they have any honeypots on their own that you could see?
You mean from Egypt or from any other countries?
Probably from Egypt, because you were just looking at asset owners in Egypt, didn't
no.
you?
No, actually
Didn't
no.
see it.
But we are taking this measure. Yeah.
Okay. So, keep on sending in questions. We are still a bit ahead and the kitchen will not be ready for you, so we need to be patient.
Yeah.
But since you are now in the Egypt search, what would you say is the thing that is the most serious or important topic to take on right now?
The important topic, I think, in Egypt, yeah. ICS. That's why I changed it from web application penetration testing to move to the ICS security. There are a lot of threats on this scope. So it's the main point of business.
So, and that is, yeah, okay. But still, that is something that you know for fact, or something that now you got some facts, but did you know before you started the scanning that you had a bad situation? No. And did you manage to get them off the internet?
Sorry?
Did you manage to get some of the asset owners to disconnect from the internet, the SCADA system?
Yeah, sometimes.
And they didn't argue? No. Okay, I will let you free. Thank you.